Oh, damn. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. And we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to each and every one of you to another episode of the Weekly Grift. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you all had a wonderful week. Of course, I haven't seen as much of you guys as I tend to or used to when I streamed every single day. But I will say I've been doing a lot of work. I've gotten a lot of research done. I miss the streaming. I do. I miss hanging out. I miss sort of riffing and having new things to talk about and new things to discuss every single day almost. But I am having the time of my life getting to dive into topics that otherwise I wouldn't have time for. So just quite genuinely, it's been sort of like a bittersweet kind of victory, I guess you could say. But been able to spend a lot more time editing, been able to spend a lot more time thinking about the topics that I want to cover, the direction that I want to take stuff, and so on. So yeah, it's been good. How have you been? How's your week going? And also, Avedon, 30 months, part of the DJ Nation. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you. You're far too kind. Just want to make sure that everything's coming through everywhere, hopefully, that it's all working. And where we are right now in this entire thing, not sure if, what people are up to. Yeah, we'll lie to customers about the price hike. Well, we'll see. All right, Pringles, how you doing, bro? Happy to have you here. The topic we're going to be starting with today is actually a very heavy one. So I'm not sure if I should just dive in right away, or at least, hopefully people will show up. And if people are lost, it's whatever, right? You had 5 minutes to get here. If you're still not here, you're probably not coming. So it is what it is. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope your week was going phenomenally, and I hope you're going to enjoy the show. 6 will destroy other games on May 2026. Pringles, we're going to be talking about that as well. Yes, we'll talk about GTA 6. We'll talk about everything. But before we do any of that, there is some research that I've been sort of engrossing myself in, I guess you could say, that has been, to say the least, it's been incredibly illuminating. It's sort of, I've been on Pornhub. That's the one place I have not been. But it's been illuminating as hell. Let me just find it for you. Like a comment that I think put things into perspective. Now, the comment here that I'm focusing on isn't meant to attack anyone. It's not meant to drag anyone. I don't think Back to the Couch is sort of trying to cause drama or to be the topic of conversation. It's more a case of it's actually so perfect. It happened 2 hours ago, and this is something that I've been researching for about a week now. I've been looking into this, and let me just give you guys as to why I've been researching this. Have you felt in the last few years as if it's become harder and harder to actually converse with people? It's gotten to a point where you'll say something and they'll either completely miss the point, so they won't even understand what you are talking about, or they'll completely misrepresent what you're talking about. They'll repeat something back to you, and you'll be like, wait, but that's literally not what I said. That's the opposite of what I said. Or people will hold positions that you just go, wait, that's what you believe? Mason, how you doing, brother? How can that be what you're... Wait, I don't understand, right? That doesn't make sense. I mean, this happened. This comment here on one of my recent videos where I dove into a lot of research around politics and what politics does to video games. And this is sort of... I'm highlighting this comment, but there's many other comments like this. Every single time you talk about politics in video games, this happens. Where Back to the Couch says they are always political. It's just the politics that you don't like. Z Vengeance, how you doing, brother? Now, the comment, of course, here is that games or art is always political. The issue here stems from an inability to understand nuance, context, and to think critically about the claim that is being made, right? If you're focusing just on art and politics, then it's 100% true that politics and art have always sort of gone together. Most artists will use their art as a way to push activism or to stand up to some political superpower or whatever the case might be, but they definitely use it as a protest action, right? The conversation, however, as to art and politics needs to be viewed through the correct lens. It is in fact not true that politics and art as it is employed today is an age-old phenomena. Because there is a massive difference between art being political, right? In other words, it is created for the only purpose for its creation is to be political, and art masquerading as art, but in reality is political activism. Those two things are not the same. And anyone with any ability to understand context and nuance and critical reasoning skills will understand that those two things are not the same. If we go back and we look historically at video games, is it true that video games have always involved politics? Yes, absolutely. All games everywhere have some form of politics within them. It is, however, not true that all politics in games are equal. Abakas, how you doing, brother? All politics in video games are not equal. If you go back just a decade ago, we don't even have to go back that long, but if you go back to a decade ago, what you'll find very often is that games have their own politics. Now, oftentimes, those politics can be reflective of something that happens in the real world. And the reason for it is we can't think up things that we don't know, right? The age-old sort of thing that they usually use is think of a new color, right? How can you think of a new color? You can only think of a color that you've seen before. It would be impossible to think of a new color, right? And so we do take inspiration from the real world in order to craft our worlds and our politics and all the rest of it. But in most games, just like a decade ago, what you would usually find is that if the politics is there, they really do leave it up to the player to determine how the player wants to feel about this particular political thing that they have in the game. I think back to games like Dragon Age Origins. In Dragon Age Origins, the Mage Tower and the Templars, they're very much, they're super political, right? And there's incredible politics tied into these two concepts. The big difference, however, is that the game never tells you how to think about these politics. You make your decision. You either join the Mages or you join the Templar. It completely is up to you. Whatever you want to choose, you choose. And the game doesn't criticize your choice. It merely presents the choice and you have to decide for yourself. That is how politics used to be applied to video games. In the modern era, what we see very often is modern day politics, so for example, non-binary characters, shoehorned into a medieval fantasy game where that may be okay. Right? Caleb, how you doing, bro? That might be okay. Maybe there's nothing wrong with creating a non-binary character in a video game, specifically in a medieval setting. Where it becomes problematic is the player never gets given the option of how to feel about it. For the player, there is accept, or accept. In other words, we have gone from using politics as a way to flesh out and give depth to our world to politics now being the front and center cornerstone of our world. And that's something that nuance would allow for, and that you would be able to see if you thought about the problem for 2 seconds. But comments like back to the couch prove that that's just not the case. Most people today seem to have a complete inability to understand context, to understand nuance, to understand critical reasoning. And this led me to, ask the question, has there been a decline in critical thinking, in the ability to think critically? And the answer, and you'll see we'll go through a lot, Psychology Today calls it an emerging crisis in critical thinking. Today's college students all too often struggle with real-world problem solving. And when you actually go into the article, it shows here that young people leaving high school are actually very, very good at memorizing stuff. It's a thing called rote learning, right? Rote learning is a method of memorizing information through repetition without necessarily understanding the meaning or context of the material. And young people are phenomenal with it. You give them a piece of work, they'll remember every single word of it. The second you ask them to think critically about it, it's as if they don't understand what you're actually asking. Think critically, how so? And then I started looking even deeper into it, and I found this from the James G. Martin Center for Academic Renewal, that this article actually pointed out so perfectly. Just listen to this. More than 6 years have passed since Richard Aram and Josipa Roxka, this is a paper that I read in the preparation for this sort of topic, rocked the academic world with their landmark book, Academically Adrift, Limited Learning on College Campuses. They have a paper, I didn't read the book, but they have a paper on this as well. Their study of more than 2,300 undergraduates at colleges and universities across the country found that many of those students improved little, if at all, in key areas, especially critical thinking. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out and why this is important, this first study, the study that this article is about, looks at high school students, so students who are now leaving high school. This study looked at students by the end of their 4 years on campus. So have they learned how to think critically, to reason critically about stuff? Since then, some scholars have disputed the book's findings, notably Roger Benjamin, president of the Council for Aid to Education, in a 2013 article entitled Three Principal Questions About Critical Thinking Test. But the fact remains that the end users, the organizations that eventually hire college graduates, continue to be unimpressed with their thinking ability. In 2010, the Noel Leavitt's Employer Satisfaction Survey of over 900 employers identified critical thinking as the academic skill with the second largest negative gap between performance satisfaction and expectation. 4 years later, a follow-up study conducted by the Association of American Colleges and Universities found little progress, concluding that employers give students very low grades on nearly all of the 17 learning outcomes explored in the study, including critical thinking, and that students judge themselves to be far better prepared for post-college success than do employers. As recently as May of 2016, professional services firm PayScale and Future Workplace reported that 60% of employers believe new college graduates lack critical thinking skills based on their survey of over 76,000 managers and executives. You'll understand in a second why this really matters. Clearly, colleges and universities across the country aren't adequately teaching thinking skills, despite loudly insisting to anyone who will listen that they are. How do we explain the disconnect? Is it simply that colleges are lazily falling down on the job? Or is it rather that they're teaching something they call critical thinking, but which really isn't? I would argue the latter. Traditionally, the critical part of the term critical thinking has referred not to the act of criticizing or finding fault, but rather to the ability to be objective. Critical in this context means open-minded, seeking out, evaluating, and weighing all the available evidence. It means being analytical, breaking an issue down into its component parts and examining each in relation to the whole. Above all, it means dispassionate, recognizing when and how emotions influence judgment, and having the mental discipline to distinguish between subjective feelings and objective reasoning, then prioritizing the latter over the former. I wrote about all of this in a recent post on the Chronicle of Higher Education's Vitae website, mostly as background for a larger point I was trying to make. I assumed that virtually all the readers would agree with the definition of critical thinking, the definition I was taught as a student in the 1980s. To my surprise, that turned out not to be the case. Several readers took me to task for being cold and emotionless, suggesting that my understanding of critical thinking, which I had always taken to be almost universal, was mistaken. I found that puzzling, until one helpful reader clued me in. I share your view. Now, listen to this. I share your view of what critical thinking should mean, he wrote. But a quite different operative definition has a stronghold in academia. In this view, the key characteristic of critical thinking in opposition to the existing system encompassing political, economic, and social orders deemed to privilege some and penalize others. In essence, critical thinking is equated with political, economic, and social critique. Now, you might be asking yourself, but Akolon, why is this such a big deal? Why are you focusing on this specifically when you're supposed to be making videos about video games? The consequences. The erosion of critical thinking in education has far-reaching consequences. It hampers individuals' ability to make informed decisions, navigate complex issues, and challenge prevailing narratives. It can lead to a society that is more susceptible to manipulation and misinformation. Moreover, the lack of critical thinking skills may result in a workforce that is ill-equipped to tackle the challenges of the future, such as rapid technological advancement and societal complexities. Now, the reason this is absolutely important to video gaming is that, have you guys noticed how bad the writing in video games have gotten? Have any of you noticed that? How writing has become almost trivialized and infantilized. It's as a result of this. You see, when your reader, in other words, your player, lacks the ability to understand context and nuance, because, by the way, when you lose the ability to critically think, you also lose the ability to understand nuance and context. Because nuance and context comes from the ability to think critically about a topic. So to understand the topic within the context of what is being discussed and to understand the nuance of what is being discussed. A great example of this is my debate with the YouTuber around Assassin's Creed Shadows, where we hooked onto this one key problem that they just could not see past. And that was the Yasuke being black not being the problem, but Yasuke being black in that time period. In other words, context and nuance, right? So in other words, the people aren't angry because Yasuke is black. The people are angry because they're forced to play a black character in Japan during that time period. But as you guys will note, if you go back and you listen to that interview or that debate, from this guy's perspective, he could not understand this. From his perspective, there was no way that people just didn't want to play with a black character. No matter how many times I tried to explain to him the context and the nuance of the take, from his perspective, just racist, right? So this is important because from a writer's perspective, if you want to write a piece of work that requires your audience to employ critical thinking, to understand context and nuance, you're going to have a hell of a time in the modern era. How the hell are you supposed to write a script like, the old days, Dragon Age Origin? We can go back to Diablo 1, Diablo 2 even. You can go back to the early days of World of Warcraft. Writing like that would be completely lost on the modern audience, because the modern audience, and when I say the modern audience, I'm genuinely not talking about the majority. It's actually not the majority, not even close. But young people specifically, and I think some older people as well, they just don't have the ability to comprehend it. I remember back in high school, we used to have comprehension tests, where the entire test would be sort of like an excerpt that you're given. You have to read the excerpt, and then you have to write down answer a series of questions that is meant to test your comprehension ability so that you can understand what you just read. And the teacher wants to know whether or not you can think about what it is you just read. Stuff like that has gone the way of the dodo bird because we're prioritizing rote learning. Instead, we want to make sure that people just they can just regurgitate what is being said and how it's being said. And this all loops back to this comment. This one comment that I see everywhere, especially on the left, although people on the right aren't completely immune to it, but this comment is everywhere. And it's sort of, I hate saying this, but it has sort of made me reevaluate my stance on a number of things. I used to believe, and I genuinely got into this fight thinking that there's a way to change people's minds. There's a way to change the industry in some way, shape, or form. I now no longer hold that view. I don't know if there is a way to change the industry. I don't know if there is a way to fix people's minds, because if you have no ability to comprehend anything, you and I won't be able to have any conversation of value, because whatever I say will be interpreted by you as completely wrong. And the reason for it is, in the modern world, the way young people are taught to critically think is that thinking is subjective. Anything you say is not important because there's no real truth in what you say. The truth is in how I perceive what you say. Right? So my feeling is what is true, not what you say. The words you used is of no importance. It's how I feel when I hear what you said. That's the truth of the matter, right? So we're in this sort of post-truth, post-modern hellscape. Now, I ask you, maybe some of you have an idea of how you can do this. How do you communicate with someone where what you say is of no import, what they think you said is of greater import? How do you? I don't know, right? I have no idea. It's just, I wanted to open with this because it's something that I'm actively working through and actively sort of researching at the moment. And I sort of, I think it's important, especially in the modern era, in modern gaming. I think it's going to become even more important as time goes on. I'm trying to invoke emotions in our story, modern Marvel writers. Caliph, pretty much. But remember, if you're dealing with people who cannot understand nuance, what are you supposed to do, right? How can you possibly do anything? Oh, that makes sense. YouTube viewers, I apologize sincerely. For some reason, chat's still broken. For some reason, chat's still broken. It won't show YouTube chat, but I see YouTube chat now. I thought for a second there, wait, why is only Twitch people chatting? And then I realized, oh, the YouTube people are chatting a storm. They're just not seen at the moment. So I do apologize, YouTube viewers. It is sincerely from the bottom of my heart. You said in KCD2 as well, your only responses to political things is to accept and agree or be silent. Well, yeah, right? Because nuance. It genuinely feels like nuance is just gone. And it is actually annoying. Let me just I'm going to try and get Twitch chat up right next to YouTube chat here. So I can actually see what all of you are writing. All right, there we go. You are good. Accidents happen. Jason, I'm still sorry about that. Bernie, how you doing, bro? Most well-adjusted young people dislike woke things, from my experience. So I don't really think it's a young person thing. So Bernie, the research shows that it is young people specifically. Remember, this isn't about woke or not woke. What the research shows is that when you lack critical thinking skills, you're much more sort of open to manipulation, because you yourself have no ability to determine what it is. I'll give you guys a great example of this. A few days ago, there's a lady that is accused of calling a young boy of 5 years old the N-word. Did you guys see that? Or am I giving you information that none of you know? How many of you know what I'm talking about now? Dark Days, how you doing? Share lots of GoFund money. All right. So you guys saw this. Now, at least from the video that I have seen. All right. So we'll only talk about the video that I've seen. It was a couple of days ago. I didn't follow up with this story because I genuinely don't give a crap. It has nothing to do with me. But from what I have seen, I saw a video of a woman sort of retreating, a man claiming that a woman called a young boy the N-word, and claiming that the boy is autistic. I never actually saw the woman say the N-word, like at least in the video that I saw, in the video that most people saw at the time. I never saw the N-word being used. I also saw no evidence that the boy is in fact autistic, right? None. Zero. I also then saw a bunch of claims being made about the man being a suspected pedophile or whatever the case might be. All the rest of it. So the information that I have at this very moment, as I'm watching the video a couple of days ago, I have information that there is a video of a woman being accused of using the N-word, and that there's a boy that's 5 years old that apparently was called the N-word. That's the information that I have. Within seconds, the entire world made up their minds as to what to believe. People on the right immediately, not all people on the right, but a lot of people on the right immediately went, bullshit, screw this woke culture, we don't care. And a lot of people obviously went to GoFundMe to fund someone where the only information you have is an alleged use of the N-word. You didn't see the word. You have no idea what actually transpired there. People on the left instantly wanted to crucify this woman. They were getting ready, right? They were building the cross and everything because she has to die for the woke culture thing. But let's go back to what we actually know of that moment. Nothing. We know nothing. The correct response by literally anyone is to go, I don't know what happened here. I'm going to have to wait until there's more information for me to form an opinion. Except everyone formed an opinion immediately. People didn't even think about the context or the nuance of the situation. They just decided what they wanted it to be true, or what they wanted to be true, and then that became the truth. And now a lot of people are out a bunch of money because they believe the truth. Another group of people, it's the same thing with the Camelo, the black kid that stabbed the white kid. The information we have, and here we actually have more information, right? But the information that we had before the police reports and everything became public, the information that we had was that a black boy admittedly stabbed a white boy. That was the information that we had. The left instantly decided that the white boy must have deserved it. The only information you have is that a black boy stabbed a white boy. That's not enough information to make up your mind either way, right? Is it possible that the white boy was actually threatening the black boy and was grabbing a gun when he stabbed him? Could be. We don't know, right? There's literally nothing else known at the moment. The more information that comes out, it reveals that Carmelo is actually most likely on, sort of on the hook here for murder, because that is pre-planned murder. But now you're too deep in, right? If you're on the left, you've bought into Carmelo's entire story, hook, line, and sinker. So any information that comes out now must be misinformation by the racists, because how else could it be? So the problem is that there's no easy fix, because young people specifically, now it's true that there are people that's older that's the same, but just because you're woke or not woke doesn't seem to have an effect here, because even people who aren't woke might be people who just don't care, right? They make up their mind, snap judgments. We see this in the anti-woke camp. You guys know of who I'm speaking of. You have a number of people in the anti-woke camp that the second a game comes out and it even looks woke. I mean, there's nothing else woke. There's just a black character in the game. It's woke. Right? Like immediately, snap judgment. Here we go. And then they craft an entire narrative around their belief that this game is now 100% full-blown woke. I already saw it with Andy Pants over on X. He's already convinced that GTA 6 is super woke. That there's no saving GTA 6. It is the wokest game that's ever been made. Now, my personal opinion, and those of you that watch my video will know this, I don't know if the game is going to be woke, right? The trailer had a couple of things in it that, and we'll discuss my trailer response or my trailer take on GTA 6, but my response was that I didn't like the trailer because the trailer was kind of boring. And one of the things that did stand out to me in the trailer was that of everyone in the trailer, the only group of people that were made fun of was the white dude from Ammunition, right? It's the only caricature that they had in the game, or at least in the trailer. The rest of the trailer shows no one being made caricatures or being satirized or anything like that. And that was my take, although a lot of people said, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. They've always had Ammunition. This isn't some white people just want to be victims. I couldn't give two shits. Like, I'm a white dude and I'm a gun nut. I love guns, right? So I don't care if you want to make jokes about white people liking guns. I like guns. My issue was more, where's the other jokes? Because GTA has always been full of jokes, right? Very racist jokes, very insane jokes, very crazy crap being said. That's sort of bog standard GTA stuff. Where's the other jokes? Why is it only the white guy's jokes that's in there and no one else's? I made no claims about the rest of the game, right? I didn't say the game was woke or anything like that. I just said I find the trailer a little bit awkward and weird. But even there, people were like, oh, already calling the game woke. I'm like, I never said that. I never said that. Not once in my video do I say anything about the game being woke or anything like this. I'm literally just talking about the trailer. I didn't like the trailer because I thought the trailer was boring. Right? And I get that they were probably doing the trailer because they wanted to showcase the graphic fidelity of the game and just how far they're pushing concepts and all the rest of it. And that's great. But it didn't, it didn't resonate with me. It didn't do anything for me. Niara, how you doing? Alistar, how you doing? Jason, Perlana, how you doing? Bernie, how you doing? Zorka, how you doing, sir? The study where it's hard to convince someone. People have this part of them where they don't want to be wrong or simply admit they're wrong. Oh, yeah. But, I mean, look, that is something that we all have. It's something that I have. You don't want to admit that you're wrong because your ego gets involved in it, right? It's ego. So if you say something really stupid and someone goes, actually, what are you talking about? Your immediate response sort of is to go on the offensive. You want to start attacking, right? Because you now feel a bit stupid. You feel like you've just been made a bit of an ass and you want to protect your feelings. So it's sort of, I read a book once where they called it the body's or the mind's advocate. Your mind has this advocate that works on behalf of you, sort of like what your ego does. It's your advocate. So the second you're made a fool, your advocate steps in and it wants to sort of salvage the situation. And then you get nasty or you start to get personal. You start to shift the argument to things that you know you can sort of own people on. One of the things that I find quite often when I'm debating people is they'll just go, how many cheeseburgers have you had today, right? So it's an easy way to go, I'm dismissing your entire argument because you're fat. Because you don't want to admit, oh, yeah, that owned me, right? No one likes that. It's an uncomfortable feeling. One of the strangest things, though, is what I have found, at least, when you allow the advocate to step in for you, you actually end up looking more stupid than if you just admit it. Oh, yeah. Oops. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I spoke out of my ass here. I don't know what I said. I'm so sorry. That people actually have respect for. When you just admit, yeah, okay, I screwed up. Sorry. People have respect for that. The problem is when you go balls deep and you just keep going deeper, everyone sort of looks at you and go, that's a bit awkward. So yeah, isn't it easy to make jokes against woke now? Well, yeah, of course, Pringles. I think it's center left. But Pringles, you have to remember this game was already started way back in 2018. So this would have been at the height of the woke movement's power. So there's a good chance that they were way too afraid to make woke jokes in this game. Berlana, I'm happy to be streaming and allow you to procrastinate. Very happy. I said when it came out, the second trailer felt like they tried to pander to the right with the imagery that they think the right would like seeing. I don't even know if it's that. It might just be that, this is how they do it and this is how they like it. What's your opinion on Kanye's new song? Don, I'm going to be honest with you, I've never been a Kanye West fan. I don't know anything about his music and I have not listened to his new song. I just know the song is called Heil Hitler, which I think for someone like Kanye West to hold that position is really stupid because, I don't care what anyone has to say. But this is sort of, again, where critical reasoning just becomes, or lack of critical reasoning becomes such a big problem. It is one thing, and this is sort of something I see so often from people in the religious world, in the non-religious world. I see this everywhere. The second people start to question, and they maybe find that people might be lying to them about something, it's as if they lose their minds and suddenly they start questioning everything, right? So it's no longer just a case of, well, you know what, these guys may have lied to us about COVID-19, but that doesn't suddenly mean that everything is a lie. But what you see is as soon as people catch one lie, now suddenly everything becomes a lie, right? And before you know it, Adolf Hitler might be a good guy. And you're like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, we can say a lot of things and there's a lot of lies going around, but Adolf Hitler was not a good guy, right? And just because you caught the experts in a lie here doesn't suddenly mean that, he was just actually really misunderstood. And a lot of it actually comes from his speeches, right? It comes from the speeches that Adolf Hitler made and that AI has now sort of done in English, right? So you can listen to Adolf Hitler in his voice make his speeches. And when you listen to his speeches, some of his speeches sound very grounded, right? He's literally just saying, look, if America and England wants us to deal with the Jews, they may take them, right? Like, that's what Hitler says. They can take all the Jews. We just don't want them here. But you're welcome to take them, but they won't take them, right? So he's just saying things that a lot of people might listen to and go, okay, I don't agree that Jews are bad, but I can understand the guy is making some points that maybe I can see his point in some weird way. But then also couple that with his actions, please. Like, let's just don't just listen to what he said in his speeches. There's a difference between going, you know what, some of these Jewish people are really taking advantage of our country, and let's gas them. That is a massive overreaction to the problem, right? Your problem is that there might be some Jewish people that might be taking advantage of the economic system. That does not mean we gas 6 million. That's a massive overreaction. And if you're a person that can't see that overreaction, you have a problem. You have to get yourself checked, because most normal people will be able to go, whew, that's a bit far, man. Like, this was a great conversation for like the bar over a beer, but you've gone too far, Adolf. It's him being salty. He lost his kids and then people not understanding him or something. I don't know. It's just attention seeking. It might be that he's just seeking attention. The few speeches I heard, but I see them as lies and half-truths. Caleb, I don't think it was lies or half-truths. I think what Adolf was saying, he genuinely believed. But the problem with power is that it corrupts, and power corrupts absolutely. So by the time Hitler gets his power, and he turns his power into ultimate power, he's completely given to his desires, and he starts exercising these desires. And he surrounds himself with a bunch of super evil people that does even more super evil things, right? He lost something to Jews and became extreme towards Jews. Dark, I don't even know if he lost something to the Jews, but at the time, there was, generally speaking, a lot of anti-Jewish sentiment in Germany. And one of the reasons for it is the Jews at the time had this sort of system where, because of the extreme inflation, they would give fellow Jews better prices than what they would give to normal Germans. So normal Germans would have to pay these extreme prices for goods that other Jews didn't pay. And from Adolf Hitler's perspective, this was wrong. Right? Like, this was just completely wrong. And they were, I think in his mind, he was blaming them for the economic situation in Germany, which is nuts. But anyways, Hitler made valid points in context to the state of Germany after World War I and what was happening in his country, but he went off the rails and obviously done extremely horrible things. Yeah, Berlana, and I think any normal human being should be able to notice that. Right? If you're a normal human being, you should be able to notice that, hold on, maybe this guy said a couple of things that sounded not too bad, but the way he acted, that was really bad. You know, there's no excuse for the way he acted. Sorry, I'm just going to go sit down now. Leo Saunders, how you doing, brother? And I'm pretty convinced that Andy Pants isn't a real sort of believer in any of this. I genuinely do think he is just a grifter, but I would have to look into him. I have a bit more time on my hands now, so I will definitely do that. But yeah, fundamentally, it is just sort of this. I don't know how we deal with this particular situation. Because I don't see how we can make peace with people that generally don't, like, words don't even mean the same thing. Pringles, I don't think it's just game dev colleges. I think it's just the education system. The way the education system has been set up, it's been set up to get as many little robots into the workforce as is possible. It's basically meant to streamline things as much as possible. And obviously, that's not how education is supposed to happen. 2025 is our year. Woke is dying. DI is poison. Profits of a virtue signaling. David, let's hope that that's exactly what ends up happening. I noticed. I missed someone there. Saying cult follower message. How you doing, bro? Amazing weekend ahead. I just got Dune beta. Gonna know life this weekend for sure. Are we going to see you try out Dune when it comes out, Akko? I will definitely be playing Dune. I will be playing Dune. I won't be streaming it, most likely, but I will be playing it and I'll make a review on it. Like, they don't just lose critical thinking. People lose how to see other people's perspectives or be in their shoes. But Darkvest, what you're explaining there is critical thinking, right? Critical thinking is the ability to think without bias. It's to recognize your bias and then to actively think against your own bias. And that includes the ability to understand the context of someone else's opinion and someone else's perspective. When you lose the ability to critically think, what another person might be feeling is largely irrelevant to the truth that you hold within your heart, right? I think Andy is just being edgy for edgy's sake. He goes to church, and I find it hard to believe his elders would be okay with him talking the way he does online. Apok, do you know for a fact whether or not he goes to church? Because I'll say this. I was watching this pastor yesterday. It's the pastor from the church called 2819. The church is called 2819. And Oh, it was such a powerful sermon. But he was specifically talking about sin and sort of attacking your sin. And he mentioned something where I think what's really powerful, he says, find the description of Christian in the Bible. Like, give me the description of Christian. I'll ask anyone in chat, what is a Christian according to the Bible? Raphael, no. I want a definition. That's just the statement, right? What is the definition of a Christian according to the Bible? Believer of Jesus. In that case, is Satan a Christian? Satan believes in Jesus. I mean, he believes that Jesus is real. He knows him personally. But we won't say Satan is a Christian, right? That would be a bridge too far. The truth is, there's no definition of Christian in the Bible, because Christian was a slur invented for followers of Christ. It was meant as a slur. It wasn't until much later that followers of Christ adopted the word onto themselves and started calling themselves Christian. But the origins of the word Christian wasn't a good word, right? It was meant to insult. And if you understood the Roman culture of the time, being crucified was a very, very embarrassing way to die. The whole point was to absolutely embarrass and mock you. So the idea that there were these people who believed in this man that was crucified, to them was funny as hell, right? They found it disgusting, but also weird that they would do that, because no Roman would ever follow. So, like, once you're crucified, that's it, right? That's like persona non grata at that point. So it was a word that you'll find a description for disciple in the Bible. We're supposed to be disciples of Jesus. Now, to know whether or not someone is a disciple is to look at the fruit. What are the fruits of their life? So here are, according to Galatians, the fruits of the Holy Spirit. This is what you should see in the life of a Christian: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. These are the fruits. Now, is every Christian everywhere going to have every single one of these fruits? No, right? We're human. We make mistakes. I eat too much, so clearly self-control is a problem. Am I gentle? Not enough. Faithfulness, I hope. Goodness, sometimes, not always. Patience, again, sometimes, not always. Peace, I'm not making war currently, so I think, but you're meant to be a peacemaker. I'm not always a peacemaker. I'm sometimes a troublemaker. Joy, I'm not always happy. I should be, but I am not. And love, difficult concept. Love is very, very, very difficult to actually portray, because the love they're talking about is God's love, not just love as humans have corrupted it. So when someone says to me, and this happens a lot on the anti-woke side, when someone says, "Oh, I'm a Christian," my immediate thought is, if you are a Christian, why am I not seeing the fruits of the Holy Spirit in your life? So I'll take someone like Andy Pants. This guy quabbles with every single person on X. Paul says that you should keep away from people who quarrel and quabble with every single other person because they're evil. Right? As Christians, we're not supposed to seek fights consistently with everyone. We should fight for the truth, but we shouldn't try and pick fights with literally everyone, everywhere, all the time. The next one, do you see him portraying love for humanity? Do you see him trying to make peace? Do you see him as patient, kind, good, faithful, gentle, self-control? I'm careful to speak out against someone's salvation because that judgment is not mine to make. All I can say is from the limited experience I have with Andy Pants, I don't see the fruits of the Holy Spirit in his life. And I don't see him even attempting to have the fruits of the Holy Spirit. And so, if by their fruits I shall know them, if you claim to be a Christian, yet I see the fruits, and Jesus himself says, do we pick grapes from thorn bushes? Right? Or figs from thistle? So if your fruit shows me you're a kind of tree, right, but it doesn't match the tree that I'm looking for, we have a problem. Because either I'm not seeing the fullness of the story or you're lying. But it can't be both of these things. So yeah, I have my suspicions about some of the people in the anti-woke community, because I do think some of the people in the anti-woke community claim to be Christians because the Bible gives them some authority, and they like to use that authority in order to bash people over the head, right? They like to abuse that authority that the Bible gives them, and it gives them legitimacy, right? Because hey, you're a Christian, you're a man of God. That makes sense. So Christians did to that word what I did to the word gimpy, took an insult and used it as a badge of identity. Jason, yeah, pretty much, right? Andy Pants is a clown from what I've seen of him. He had an alt like JDA. Again, I can't say for certain. I'm literally just focusing on what little they show. Because remember, there's also the argument to be made that online isn't real life. And so it might be that you're seeing one thing online, but you're seeing a completely different thing in real life. So maybe in real life, they're not all like that. Maybe they have some things that they struggle with, but there's a lot of things that they don't struggle with, in which case I don't want to be someone that speaks about the salvation of another human being. Because if I do judge someone else's salvation, I will be judged with the same measure that I judge them. And I need God to be as merciful as possible. I don't think you guys understand. I cannot get to heaven and God go, right, how did you judge other people? Let me judge you that way. Because I'm screwed. So I need God to be merciful, in which case I'm not judging someone's salvation unless I'm absolutely certain that they're not Christian. Otherwise, I'll just speak to what I can see, and I'll leave the rest to God. Call like Andy Pants Xbox, where he weighed in on console wars and praised the games he disavowed in 2020. Caleb, can you provide evidence of that? Darius, how you doing, brother? I don't really. I find the choice of the Pope interesting. But I should mention I am not Catholic. So I don't care who the Pope is. From my perspective, the Pope is false anyways. So, whoever it is, I couldn't care less. But what I do find interesting is, historically, the Catholic Church has been very sort of opposite when it comes to popes. So, just to give you guys, historically, if there was a Pope that reigned for, say, 20 years, the next Pope will be super old. So they'll purposefully choose a Pope that's old so that Pope will only rule for 5 or 6 years maybe. And if they chose a liberal Pope once, They'll choose a more conservative pope the next time. So the whole point is to try and remain as neutral as possible in all things. That's sort of what the cardinals are doing. It's very interesting to me that we now have two very liberal popes, one after the other, which may suggest that the cardinals themselves have already been captured by cultural Marxism, in which case the Roman Catholic Church is going to have another reformation. Is what it is. Watched the Pope come out yesterday. I've done some reading on him, and my verdict is that I'll wait and see for him to speak as Pope. Some of the things he said as himself, I think, are silly, but him as Pope, we cannot render judgment on just yet. So, Ravy, I don't like that argument, right? Because the Pope can say certain things as just himself, but other things as the Pope. Because what the heart is full of, the mouth will overflow with, right? So, if you can say those things with your mouth, that means your heart is rotten. I mean, I don't care what you're going to say as Pope. You're rotten on the inside. Like, you're already a bad person right there. So yeah, that is sort of a problem for me with this Pope. I think the point of that is that the office of the Pope should force the person to put aside their own political stances, I guess. Because, well, yes, but I don't know. We'll see, right? We'll see. Maybe he genuinely just doesn't like Trump, because there are Christians who don't believe in borders, who believe that enforcing borders is actually evil because we're all Christian and we should all, be able to live where we want with fellow Christians. So maybe it is not a case that he's really liberal, but mostly just he doesn't like the stuff that Trump is standing for because he has a different opinion on how that should be how that should be approached. Because yeah, I mean, I can't really speak on any of it. It to me, it's sort of like whatever, right? The whole Israel-Palestine thing, the only thing I find interesting about the entire Israel-Palestine thing, Sin family, how you doing, brother, is Hassan's crash out as a result of it. Tell me you guys have seen Hassan's crash out as a result of Israel-Palestine. Like, dude, after the Ethan stream, it's like Hassan he's just crashing out at extreme rates. It's actually nuts. Yeah, man is just scar-facing with a bunch of Tommy guns, just shooting everywhere. And what's really interesting about Hassan, you see, Hassan successfully maintained an aura of importance because he never debated anyone. See, he refused to debate anyone. This was actually one of Hassan's biggest strengths. Because he never debated anyone, no one could ever see how stupid he was. And then he chose Ethan as debate opponent. And the reason he chose Ethan, I think, was because he didn't think Ethan was that smart. He didn't think Ethan was
thing you see on YouTube.
that intelligent. And then Ethan cooked him. And the problem for Hassan now is his own audience will probably not turn on him. He's probably safe with his own audience. But I think he's pretty much cooked in every other way. I think he's pretty much lost every other audience that he could possibly have had, ever. He also goes after Asman, who just laughs every time. It's pretty funny. Was Hassan like doing Macho Bro videos back in the day? Oh, Pralana, yeah. He was doing bro code videos back in the day. He was doing the bro code thing of dumping girls right after you've slept with them. And, he was trying everything basically to become famous. Wait, what? Hassan Piker is allegedly dead. This Yeet guy just will not let go. This is the funniest shit ever. This Yeet guy will not let go. He's basically turned his entire channel into Hassan Central. Like, that's all he does now is just Hassan or Hassan connected stuff. It is super funny. Yeet is insane. Hassan Piker is allegedly available to hire for speaking engagements. The Harry Walker Agency, which is said to be funded by billionaires, has this Rio listed as a speaker on their website. They also listed him as a journalist and activist advocate. The company's clients include a who's who of famous people from the likes of Hillary Clinton to Ben Affleck. Wait, what? A journalist, they say. Wow. Dude, the worst thing that could have happened to Hassan, the absolute worst thing, was the New York article. Was it the New York Times that came out with this article? The issue there was Hassan's viewpoints are fine for the internet because there's a lot of very extreme people on the internet. But when you think of ordinary people, think of your mom, your dad, your uncle, your aunt. I have family members that are super left-wing. And I remember one of my cousins... No. I think it was my brother, actually, that did it. I don't think it was one of my cousins. Anyway, one of my family members, when they heard the stuff that Hassan was saying, they were disgusted. And they're left. They're not conservative, not even centrist. They're left-wing. You see, but normal people who don't hang out online all day don't listen to someone like Hassan. And the worst thing that could have happened to Hassan is his viewpoints becoming mainstream. Because that's going to turn a lot of people off. Yeah, the leftist in the MAGA body. You know, basically admitting, well, I should definitely get ripped because apparently you can't be MAGA and fat. So I'm going to have to get ripped. I'm going to have to, go even harder at the gym and really build the muscles so that I can also be a MAGA body, I think. Bro, I'm disgusted. The terrorist said people were safer under the Ottoman Empire than they are today. My country literally has recorded history of them slaughtering whole towns. Dude, Hassan... I'll just put it out there. Hassan is running a serious risk of being arrested. There's a serious risk that Hassan will be arrested. Berlana, you're not alone on that. I don't know what Twitch is doing. A lot of people don't recognize that Hassan is actually in vocal support of terrorists, and he's proud of it. But RayVG, that's exactly what I mean. You see, the problem for Hassan is that he plays terrorist propaganda videos on his stream. He plays terrorist recruitment videos on his stream. At some point, a prosecutor with a go-getter attitude is going to get their hands on Hassan, and they're going to make the case that Hassan is a literal spokesperson for terrorist organizations. And when that happens, Hassan is going to jail for a long time. Because he has no argument against it. He does recruit for terrorist organizations. At least inadvertently. Right? He runs the gauntlet of excuses for criminal organizations and terrorist organizations. He makes excuses for their actions. He justifies their actions. He definitely glorifies their actions. At some point, especially in the new America, some prosecutor wanting to make a name for themselves might actually say, ooh, let's have some fun with this guy. That's an easy W. RayVG, never underestimate the power of the Trump administration. I have a feeling in Trump's America, they don't care much. In Trump's America, they don't care much. Stuff's gonna go absolutely wild. But all right, let me get your thoughts quickly, guys. Off from the drama stuff. I really want to get your thoughts. I've been waiting for this stream literally just so that I can ask you guys this. How do you guys feel about GTA being delayed again? What are the thoughts, chat? You find it odd. Why? I've been waiting for this stream for 2 weeks. Z Vengeance, I have been waiting for it too. But I won't lie, I've been enjoying the ability to research and actually spend time making videos a lot, right? So right now I'm not hating the fact that I'm only streaming once a week because I get to actually spend time researching and spending time making videos, which is cool. My thoughts are they'll panic rework a bunch of it to try and pander to the other political side. I don't know if there was enough time for that. A year is not enough to rewrite a bunch of storylines. That would be a nightmare if they tried to do that in a year. Not worried about missing out on GTA 6. It's not a game I'm excited for. Delays don't bother me. Cyberpunk was delayed too, but who knows? We'll see when it comes out. Shadow Skyleg, how you doing? I think what bothers me and probably everyone else with this delay is just the why. Because I also don't mind delays. Delays are fine. I think what confuses me is why they would delay it. Because they've already had, more than 6 years on this game? Because the rumors right now suggest that the development started in 2018. Seriously, this is all... You need another year for this? There must be another reason for the delay, and I refuse to believe that it's quality. That's the problem. GTA 6 seems woke to me. Deadshot Killer, I don't think, the game certainly doesn't seem woke to me because we don't know enough about the game yet. Is there woke elements in the company? Absolutely. You bet your ass, right? There's definitely woke people in the company. The question is, how many and what have they been able to do? Because it takes time for these woke elements to really take over a company. And oftentimes, if they're running into more senior people that just will not stand for that bullshit, they'll keep quiet and they'll sort of work behind the scenes. So I don't know. For now, it looks fine to me. I've not seen anything that I would just label as woke in the game. It's also important to note that historically, GTA has always been a slightly problematic game, right? It makes fun of everyone, including the left, including the right, including everyone in between. The question is going to be, will they continue to make fun of everyone, or is everyone else not going to be made fun of? Right? Because that's the thing that bothers me, and that I'm a little bit afraid of. Is it going to turn into a sort of scenario where we can make fun of white people, maybe we can make fun of Asian people, but we cannot make fun of black people, we cannot make fun of trans people, we cannot make fun of non-binary or gay people. Those people, when we make fun of them, will have to be very respectful in our jokes. And that's the quickest way I think that game sort of becomes a non-player for me. I won't say look, guys, the game is going to sell really well. Anyone that thinks the game is going to fail is out of their minds. You have no idea. This game is big. Shadow, so you're referring to the police officers and the black guys being in a kerfuffle in the vehicle. I wouldn't say that that's them already doing the trope of black gangsters, because it could also just be a sort of story. It could also just be a case of police brutality being pushed into the game or whatever, although the police was always super brutal in the game anyways. So I don't know if that really matters. Boob, I think his name is. Hey, if they do that, I'll be happy. Shadow. I'll be happy. But then again, gangster stuff, that's all over rap. So I'm not sure. We'll see. I'm not making any judgments on the game. I want to be super clear. I don't know anything about this game outside of what we've been leaked to see. And that's not a lot. It's actually insane that they've kept the lid on the game for as long as they have. I played 5. I loved 5. I thought GTA 5 was phenomenal. It's sort of the same with Red Dead Redemption. I think Rockstar is, when Rockstar wants to be, they're probably one of the greatest game developers ever. So I have high hopes for GTA 6. But we'll have to see. Polano, that's the way I think that's the way we'll have the clearest vision of how people perceive the game, is how well the online does. Because if the game is woke, online isn't going to do as well as in 5. Right? If the game is, if they employ all sorts of rules that say you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't say this, you can't say that, people are just not going to play the online as much. Some people will still, but a lot of people might just decide not to support it anymore. So that's going to be a good way for us to determine how successful the game actually ends up being. I'm waiting to play it on PC, so 2028 for me. No idea how this game can run on console at that resolution. Don, this is one of those things that Rockstar does just really well. You know, they figure out how to make phenomenal graphics work on usually very decent hardware. I don't know if it's the engine they're using, because I don't think they use Unreal. Might be mistaken. What's the engine for Grand Theft Auto? They have an in-house one, don't they? Yeah, it's the Rockstar Advanced Game Engine. So they have their own engine, and that engine is insane. Considering what you can do with it, it is insane. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I am cautiously optimistic for the game. Just to be super clear, I'm cautiously optimistic. Shadow Scalig, I'm literally just voicing concerns. I'm not voicing concerns in terms of how it pertains specifically to GTA 6. I'm just saying this is the stuff that I'm sort of worried about, especially in the current political landscape. But I'm hoping, like genuinely hoping, that GTA 6 doesn't do that and they don't give a crap, right? And they just end up doing what they've always done, which is make a good game and don't even care about anything else. I'm pro in-house engines. Unreal 5 is a mistake. Orc Dictator, you're not wrong, and I do not disagree with you one bit. I'm also not a fan of... You're talking about this, right, Shadow? Yeah, I think I saw Jason's and Lucia's. The sort of dump for the type of characters that they have. Viral videos, viral hooks, Baylux and Roxy, aka Real Dimers, or Dimes, has been friends since high school. Goals with the savvy to turn their time shaking down local dealers into cold hard cash via spicy rap tracks and a relentless social media presence. Alright, so they're influencers. Oh man, this is okay. Booby Ike, it's all about heart, the Jack of Hearts. Booby is a local Vice City legend and acts like it. One of the few transform his time in the streets into a legitimate empire spanning real estate, a strip club, and a recording studio. Booby's all smiles until it's time to talk business. And this is sort of the gang guy. The club money pay for the studio, and the drug money pay for it all. All right. top quality cuts. Booby might seem like he's just out for himself, but it's his partnership with the young aspiring music mogul, Queen, for only raw records that he's most invested in. Now they just need a hit. Okay. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know. You watch like the typical black culture TV, but Booby is quite literally the embodiment of that. I don't watch any TV, and I definitely wouldn't watch black culture TV because it would have no like thing for me, right? It would have no appeal for me. I am the whitest white guy you'll ever meet, so I would definitely not understand. I don't listen to rap. I don't listen to hip hop. I have no black culture in me whatsoever. I am like the most milquetoast white guy you'll ever meet in your life. I think Unreal 5 itself is fine because I've seen devs do amazing stuff with it. The issue is when talentless hacks get their hands on Unreal 5 and try to work with it with no experience or skill to make it work for their needs. I will say, you look at something like Clear Obscure. That was made on Unreal, no? See, Vengeance, yeah, I'm African insofar as I was born in South Africa, but I'm not African in any other way. And you look at Clear Obscure, it ran like a charm. It was really good, all right? I'm still playing it. I'm in Act 3 now for Clear Obscure. Holy crap, what a game. Although I must say, Act 3 story, like the reveal kind of left me a little bit like, oh, I was hoping for a bit more here. What do you think they can innovate in GTA 6? Don, I don't think it's so much innovation, although we'll see, right? But even if you look at Red Dead Redemption 2, they weren't really... They weren't really innovating as much as they were perfecting. You know, so mostly it's pushing the technological limits of what games can actually do. This is something that Rockstar has been doing for a long time, and it seems like that's exactly what they're doing now. They are genuinely trying to push the engine and what technology can do as far as they can. I would like to see, if it was up to me, I would love to see better vehicle mechanics, because the vehicles aren't bad in GTA, but they've never been super good either. They're just sort of okay. And I definitely would love to see better AI. Like, if they can innovate on AI and give us something truly majestic from an AI perspective, that I'd love. Yeah, please don't spoil it for me. I will be playing more this weekend. Can you give an example of good AI? Fear. The game Fear. To this day, and that's a super old game, to this day, there is no game that has ever come close to the AI of Fear. I don't know what the hell they did, but they did AI where it's very difficult to spot that you're dealing with AI because the enemies are genuinely reacting like you would expect normal people to react, which most games today don't even try to do. So if they can take the Fear model and move it further ahead, that would be insane, right? Because we need better AI in video games. There's so many good games that get... Even Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is a good game, but one of the things that bother me in Cyberpunk is the AI is predictable. Like, if you just wait a couple of seconds, the AI will always get up and shoot at the exact same time. They'll always peek and shoot from the exact same angles. And even if you kill someone at a specific location, you'll be able to kill all of them at that location. They just won't really learn from their mistake, which can be annoying. The boss AI in Cyberpunk is better. Current heroes still blocking every doorway they can. Yeah, but I don't think you're supposed to play the bots, right? Okay, chat, can I share something with you guys that's made me incredibly uncomfortable? I'm not a man that gets uncomfortable quickly, but this has made me very uncomfortable. First, let me share with you guys something funny. Don't know how many of you saw this, but whenever it comes to Mr. Phil Spencer, you have to laugh at him. It's sort of rules, the internet rules, right? Old Phil. Now, Phil or Darkside Phil, for those of you that don't know who Darkside Phil is, Darkside Phil is probably one of the worst content creators in the world. And what I never understood, and what doesn't make any sense to me, is that Darkside Phil... sorry, not Phil Spencer, I'm talking about Darkside. What doesn't make sense, so Phil will literally blame his audience for his financial struggles. Like, he will end streams because people aren't donating or gifting money. That's the kind of guy he is. So he will literally look at chat and be like, guys, like, I don't know what we're going to do here. I've been streaming for almost an hour and you guys have not given me a single bit of donation yet. And he'll just continue harping on for like half an hour on how you guys haven't donated to him yet and how he's so disappointed in all of you until someone starts donating. And then he'll finally keep quiet, right? Or he'll be like, guys, you know, there's not enough people gifting subs or whatever, right? So he'll come up with these, and he blames his chat for not doing it. And he'll end streams as a result of it. And yet, after all of that, people still watch him. He has a very loyal following. He makes a lot of money, actually, on Twitch. He makes a lot of money on Twitch. And yeah, I don't know. Give some subs to Akko. Streams again next week. No, you guys don't have to gift subs or anything. I'm just here because, you know, it's fun. Okay, so let's listen.
The rest with Ignatius.
You're still talking! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Is there a fucking video game? Shut up! This is the worst fucking thing ever!
But in better ones.
They never shut up! They just talk and blather about menial, boring shit! This is a video game? Oh my...
The rest with Ignatius.
This is him playing an RPG story game and complaining that there's too much RPG and story in his game. I mean, either he's faking it or he's genuinely that stupid. Online only thing I had to tell him was that I was praying for him. He instantly begged me for Ethereum to gamble with. Lol. Those horrible women that keep talking. Oh yeah, who's this guy? His name is Darkside Phil, and he's a streamer. Right. But alright, onto the thing that makes me uncomfortable. Now, guys, you guys know how I feel about Andrew Wilson, the CEO of EA. I'm not a fan. What I don't like is when Andrew Wilson turns out to not be the bad guy. So during the Q4 financial earnings call for 2025, they asked Andrew Wilson about increasing game prices. And Andrew Wilson was like, not really, you know, let me read you the answer. Wilson replied that the video game industry is very different today than it was a decade ago. Back then, it was all about selling discs in plastic boxes in stores. Now that's a very small part of EA's overall business, and they have a wide variety of pricing options from free-to-play all the way to deluxe editions and beyond. At the end of the day, said Wilson, whether you're doing something that costs $1 or we're doing something that costs $10 or we're doing something that costs $100, our objective is always delivering incredible quality and exponential value to our player base. And then the CFO said, from a games perspective we put out, we have reflected no changes in our current strategy at this point. So they're legitimately not, they're going to be the only AAA studio that doesn't increase their prices. Like, how am I supposed to deal with this? As like an avid Andrew Wilson hater. What am I supposed to say to this? Because I don't want to thank him. I don't like him. But I feel like I should thank him. Because he's not raising prices. In a world where everyone else is increasing their prices, Andrew Wilson is the only guy that's going, no, we're making enough money as it is. We're good. They say it now, but don't know in the future. Yeah, well, they did say at this point, right? So there is always the outside possibility that this point might be next year. But for now, at least, they seem to be there because Xbox is all in. For those of you that don't know, Xbox is 100% in. They're going. Microsoft, not only is Microsoft increasing game prices, Microsoft is increasing console prices. Yes, their consoles are getting more expensive. Because why not? They're already not selling consoles, but the way to fix that is by charging more for the consoles that they are not selling. And it's by $100 each. The whole price rise stuff is wild to me, like business-wise, you're just pricing people out. Brana, what's funny is that some people are already claiming that this is a result of tariffs, right? Trump's tariffs is what's causing the price increase. And then I just go, really? I knew Trump wanted Canada. I didn't know that Trump was now also the president of the European Union. Because apparently European prices also go up because of American tariffs. I mean, who knew? Hey, so it's sort of like, it's just, I don't know. It's so stupid. Wait, what? Oh, okay, I understand. This is actually funny, thank you. For a second there, I was like, wait, I don't... Oh, okay, never mind, I get it now. Oh, this is actually funny. Oh, man. But no, I think there's a specific reason why Microsoft is increasing all of their prices. I think Microsoft understands. The secret isn't consoles. I think Microsoft now knows this. I know a lot of people are super angry about this. A lot of people are going, oh, what's the point even of having an Xbox if Microsoft isn't going to do any Xbox exclusives anymore? And they aren't. There's no more Xbox exclusives. But why would they care? I think Microsoft knows console is a dead end. And that would include PlayStation. Users, why fight over that when you can sell to them on PlayStation? You're going to have to go off the PC where there is growth. Brolana, you're right. Well, actually, it's less than 160 million, at least for the new generation, because Sony has sold up until now 75 million copies, and Microsoft Xbox has sold 26.6 million copies as of right now. So you're talking about just over 100 million copies of the consoles that's been sold, right? So clearly they're, take your pick. But I'm sure there's a couple of people that's still hanging out on like the old generation stuff. I think the biggest issue, just like PCs, Alistar, I don't necessarily think consoles have become like PCs. I think it's more that the handhelds are now PCs. So there's no reason to be on a console. There's literally zero reason to be on a console. Just go grab yourself a handheld. Xbox is actually working on their own handheld right now. So if you're still doubling down on consoles and not realizing that the money lies in the games for consoles, I think you're fighting a losing battle. I don't see how you're ever going to be successful. Not in the coming years. Because handhelds, as technology is getting better and we're able to put stronger technology into smaller platforms, or into smaller architectures, handhelds are going to get to a point where they're just as, if not more powerful than consoles even. And then it's over. Wonder how big the mobile games industry is. So, Caleb, the mobile industry is about the same size as the console and the PC industry combined. Mobile is huge. Mobile is massive. The DLSS on handhelds will be massive, true. The fact that PS2 is still the top-selling console just shows. Wait, PS2 is still... Wait, do they still make them? Or do they just still have a lot of stock left over? As the most total consoles sold to date? Oh. I understand what you mean. Okay. Well, I think there's been a significant shift, and you actually see it. The data bears this out. In 2021, during COVID, actually 2020, during COVID, there was a surge in PC gaming. And I mean absolute surge. That was the moment that console gaming became the third largest gaming platform. Because it was always mobile first, then console, then PC. But because COVID happened, and suddenly you had a lot of people that had to get PCs at home, because they were working from home now, but now that I have a PC at home, I may as well just play my games at home. And as a result of this, PC gaming just became the norm. Because, I mean, if we're going to be honest, would you rather play games on a console, or would you rather play games on a PC? Where would you prefer to play your video games? PC offers more choice. It offers more performance. Everything on a PC is better than what a console can do. It offers mods. It offers so much longevity. Personally, I don't see the point of owning a console. It offers piracy, which is another good thing, I guess. This is actually something, Caleb, or Z-Vengeance. This is something that I think the gaming industry isn't keeping in mind. Steam actually showcased this. When Steam introduced regional pricing, piracy dropped worldwide. It dropped worldwide. Because piracy, first and foremost, is a response to cost. If gamers cannot afford a game that they really want to play, they'll pirate it. But if I can afford to buy a game, why would I pirate it? The pirate experience is just worse in every single way. First, you have to hope that you get a working copy. Then you have to hope that they don't do massive updates, because every single time they update, you have to download a new update. And you have to hope that the version you downloaded actually has an update that is compatible with that version. You have to block it in the firewall. It's a whole sort of massive mission to get a pirated game working. It's easier to just download the normal one. Yeah, it is a pain in the ass, Niara. Exactly. Right. And so for a lot of people, myself included, I rather just buy the thing on Steam and download it because it's literally one click and I'm done. The issue is, when game prices get to $100, how many of you in chat right now are going to feel happy dropping that amount of money? Oh, Z-Vengeance, you don't have to worry. I used to be an avid sailor of the high seas. I won't go into detail, but, you know, I have specialized places, you know, specialized ports, shall we say, that isn't available to the public for all of this stuff. So I'm aware, but even if you make piracy as easy as possible, it won't ever beat the ease of use of Steam. Right? So I go into my Steam library here. Any game that needs to be updated automatically updates. Right? I literally just click this button and bam, we're updating. There's no questions asked. There's no looking for the right patch or any bullshit like that. It's just doing its thing, right? And I can literally just, this is usually what I do, just click all of these and it completes it. Right? And now I can go on with my life and do whatever. Clean, how you doing? So fundamentally, no pirated game is ever going to beat this. But let me ask you guys, how many of you, or what is the price a game can be before you have to start asking yourself seriously whether or not you're willing to take out that money? Like, at what price point do you go, okay, no, I will not pay for that? Many if it's above $40, unless it's some exceptional thing. I'm asking you guys for an exceptional game. So think generational quality game, right? So your favorite game or a game that you're super hyped for, what is the price point where you go, I cannot justify spending this amount of money on that game? Like, that's just insane. I can't pay that. So some of you are saying 50, 70 pounds, probably 60 USD, and relies heavily on how much I can play it. 65, anything over 40. Just wait for a sale. BG3, if that costed like $80, I wouldn't pay for it. You see, for me, I would also have to say around, if it's a very special game, I might be moved to pay 70 for it. But I mean, it has to be super special. 60, no problem. I'll buy it, right? I'm used to 60. 60 is fine. 70 already feels crazy to me because at $70, I can buy quite a few indie games, and I prefer indie games anyways, right? So I can buy, at 70 buckaroos, I can buy 5 indie games for the same price. So for me, at 70, it's a choice between 5 games or 1. So for me, it just seems a little out there. But at 70, if it's like GTA 6, I might spend 70 on it because I'm hyped for GTA. If it's... what other game? Oh. Let's say Mass Effect just came out, right? Like, it was literally just now Mass Effect came out. I would pay 70 buckaroos for Mass Effect. Because I'm even now I'm hyped for the game and I've already finished it so many times. Right? So 70 would be my upper limit on blockbuster games. That would be my upper limit. anything more than that, and I'm at a point where I'm just not willing to spend it. But I think, because Microsoft just announced that they're increasing all of their prices as well. But you only know that because you've already played it. Clean, that's true. That is true. But I'm just sort of making the point. Every one of us has this one game. I'll give you another example. Witcher 3, but the company Rebel Wolves Studio. That's what's that game that they're making again, guys? What's the game called? Actually, here's Dawnwalker. That's the one. Dawnwalker. I would probably pay $70 for Dawnwalker because it reminds me of Witcher 3 and I really want to play that. But another game that I would actually pay $70 for is Death Stranding. Because I know I love Death Stranding 1 and I'm convinced I'm going to love Death Stranding 2. So I'm happy to take out $70 for it. But of all the games that launch, I might be happy to pay $70 for like 10% of them. The rest, I refuse to pay more. Like, I absolutely refuse to pay more. Because I don't want to. It's as simple as that. But I think I know why Microsoft is leading the charge. I think I know why Microsoft is leading the charge. Why Microsoft is trying to get prices as high as possible. See, because for Microsoft, this service is the biggest boon they have. And they're trying to get people onto Game Pass. And if they make prices so expensive that you start questioning whether or not it's worth paying it, Game Pass is worth paying. Because it is. The fact of the matter is, it's jam-packed full of games. There's constantly new games coming out. These games are generally speaking really good. Not all of them, but some of them are really, really good. And you're getting all of that for what? I think I pay, it's regional pricing, but I think I pay $10 for Game Pass Ultimate in South Africa. I don't even have the Ultimate at the moment because Ultimate just comes with a bunch of Nitro bullshit. And I was like, I don't care about Nitro. I just want the games. So I even have the smaller version than Ultimate because I don't care about the perk stuff that you get off the, like, for Ultimate. I think the problem with Game Pass is you don't get DLC expansions. It can't be the Netflix of gaming unless you can play the entire experience from the sub. Alistair, yes, that's true. That is true. You do get discount on the DLCs, right? But you are correct. You don't get the DLCs on Game Pass. And burn myself. No more subscriptions for me unless I'm no-lifing a game like WoW back in the day. Andres, how did you burn yourself? What the hell is this update on Frostpunk? Why is Frostpunk updating so much, though? That's insane. You guys know what I want to do? I want to start a new Baldur's Gate 3 run. But multiplayer. I need to find some people to play Baldur's Gate 3 with. And do a multiplayer run of Baldur's Gate 3. That'd be mega fun. Didn't use it. Played games I had on Steam. Oh, Andres, I use it a lot. But I use it sort of as like a taster. I use WoW Game Pass as like a demo. I'll play a game. If I like the game, I'll buy it on Steam. Like, I really like the game, I'll buy it on Steam. If I don't really like the game, I just enjoy it, I'll play it on Game Pass. Because I want to support the developers. So if I play a game and I find, damn, this is a good game, I'll purchase it on special. Like, I'll wait until the game goes on sale on Steam, and then I'll buy it on Steam to support the developers. Did you finish it off stream? I'm still playing it clean. I'm still busy with Expedition 33. I'm playing everything off stream nowadays. Remember, I no longer stream full time. So everything is off stream for me nowadays. I don't play a lot. I don't play a lot. I play about 4 or 5 hours at night. I just don't have time. Like, the amount of research I'm doing and genuinely trying to put as much effort into my content as possible takes a long time to do. The videos take a while to edit now. They take a while to make now, but I'm having fun making the videos. If they bring some new good StarCraft games into Game Pass, I don't care about Blizzard at all. Like, dude, don't even get me started on this new one-button BS from Blizzard. Like, holy crap. Blizzard is just, they are the kings of, they're the absolute kings of treating the symptom and not the disease. It's like, what the hell are we doing? The game is overblown, bloated, unnecessarily bloated. And instead of fixing the bloat and actually making the game streamlined and good, now we'll just give them a button that does everything for them. You know, they can just click it. I don't even know what they do in WoW now, the good or the bad. No, I still pay attention, like with one eye. I keep an eye out because WoW gaming news, right? So I keep an eye on all news and all gaming stuff. But yeah, they just released a new feature. So the feature is twofold. The one is called, I think it's called Spell Rotation Helper and Spell Rotation Assist or some shit like that. The assist is purely a button on your screen that flashes the next spell that you have to use. So it gives you a prompt of what sort of sequence to use your spells in. Then there's a button, another feature that you can turn on, that takes the spells that flash on your screen and puts all of it into one button. So you literally just click one button and it goes through your whole rotation for you. It just does all of it for you. Now, they do introduce alongside that a penalty. So your global cooldown goes up by like 0.2 or 0.3 or something like that. So you get slightly lower DPS, actually a lot lower DPS. I think it's about 25 to 30% less DPS on some classes. The issue is, this is now a feature that once it's introduced, it cannot be removed. Ever. And once the normies start playing that way, they will start demanding that you increase the damage. Well, Berlana, that's the thing. It's, according to them, it's for accessibility, right? So people who are in wheelchairs or whatever that want to play World of Warcraft. But of course, it's available for everyone. So a lot of normies are just going to use that feature. And then the normies are going to complain on the forums that the feature doesn't do enough damage. And they're going to be forced to ultimately increase the damage. They're going to be forced to do so. Because fundamentally, if you're... once you give a feature like this, it's like flying. Once Blizzard introduced flying, you can never take it away. Now, flying is in the game, no matter what. And it doesn't matter that flying is destroying the game. It doesn't matter that flying is making the game worse. It's now there, and taking stuff away will cause people to have a literal meltdown. $50 game and a bot play half the game for you. Good, good. Niara, are your French hands already itching to play that game? Wait, Ian actually said this is for people who don't care about the gameplay and want to experience the story? That's genuinely Ian's words. So the 4 buttons that you need to click in order to kill every single mob, story mob that you can, because there's just 4 main spells. You don't even have to do them well, you just need to do them. That's too much? Chat. Do I have a picture of a giant penis on my forehead? Is there something on my face that says that you're allowed to treat me as if I'm a cock? Because that's what I feel is happening here. That is the worst excuse for including this ever. Like, what are we talking about? Present your pet, that's enough? Yeah, pretty much. Looking for raid is already easy enough. I thought you was just a unicorn. It's big. Oh, man. WoW is so cooked, though. Like, it is so cooked. Man, I don't even care anymore. It is what it is. I don't think it's ever coming back. I think WoW is just what it is now, you know? And the thing I'm looking forward to is in the next few years, engine technology is going to catch up to the point where up until now, MMOs have been the one game genre that's been safe from the indie companies. Indie cannot make MMOs. It's too expensive. In order to make an MMO, you need a lot of people and you need a lot of money. And since most indies don't have a lot of people and don't have a lot of money, the only answer is to stick to anything other than MMOs. That is coming to an end. With engine technology growing as fast as it is, with newer engines coming online, we watched a few weeks ago, we watched that video of a brand new MMO engine that's coming out that's going to make it easier than ever to make MMOs. With all of this stuff happening, there's going to be a significant shift within the gaming industry soon. I think within the next 2 or 3 years. You're going to start seeing indie companies making MMOs. And once that happens, it's over for companies like Blizzard. Cheaper server hosting costs. With AV1, it's becoming cheaper than ever to host servers. You have places like Steam that you can literally host games on their servers if you really want to, and Steam will do that for you for a price, of course. Stan was here. How you doing, brother? I miss you guys. I do. I genuinely miss you guys every single day. I might start throwing in some Twitch streams, but it will be Twitch streams exclusively. One of the other reasons I've taken a step back from streaming specifically is it has an impact on video views. When you stream on YouTube, the algorithm punishes your videos. It just does. Because not everyone wants to watch streams, right? And I think another reason why the streams sort of get punished is when you deal stream, the algorithm hates when you send people to other platforms. Like, the algorithm doesn't like when people leave YouTube for somewhere else while they're on your content. So if your content is the thing that's pushing people to other places, that's a big problem. So from my perspective, it was just sort of like, I need to stop streaming and instead do it like this, where once a week we're on platform. So maybe what I'll start doing is some evenings we'll stream on Twitch. after I finished my work. So there's not going to be any sort of schedule or any sort of promise. It'll be when I'm done with my work, when I'm done with my research, when I'm done with the videos, I'll go live. We'll play some video games or whatever. And then maybe Fridays we'll do a YouTube only stream for this podcast where we're only on YouTube. So I think that's sort of like a nice balance. We do gameplay and stuff over on Twitch. So those of you that want to watch it on Twitch, you can come join us over there. And we do like the podcast and the gaming news and stuff we do here. Play some video games again. Well, one less reason to own the Xbox console. Dude, you mean in the sea of reasons that already exist to not own it? It feels like there's more reasons not to own an Xbox than what there are to own an Xbox. Need to play some multiplayer games. I want to play Baldur's Gate 3 multiplayer, but I will play that offline because that will be just sort of my fun tabletop game where I just hang out with a group of friends and we play some Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, I've not played Baldur's Gate 3 multiplayer before, and I do want to play it. To just continue, I think so, Pringles. I think it is coming. By the way, Akko, tell me if you'd actually like that, since I do it anyway every time. Should I just do timestamps as I go in the comments on Mythic Banter? Oh, Z Vengeance, yes. Please. Dude, that would save me so much effort and work. Like, my man, if you could do that, that would be amazing. Please. Yeah, that would be mega helpful, actually. Because I do not have the time to make timestamps. By the way, guys, this is the end of the podcast. I want to do about 2 hours a night. If there's very, very, very big gaming news, we'll do more. But 2 hours is sort of enough for today. Just to give you guys a bit of an update, because I saw some people asking about it in the comment section. Videos do now have early access. So if you want to see videos earlier, $5 a month gets you early access to every video every single day. But it's not super early access. It's like a couple of hours, right? South African couple. It's like 6-7 hours maybe, right? No more than that. It's basically just because I finish my one video, say, for example, at 12 in the afternoon. Now I can just leave that video there and it'll go live at 6. But I decided to just make it sort of members only until 6 o'clock at night. Because then I go on to research and write scripts and stuff for other videos. So yeah, it's sort of like, it's there if you want it. Also, if you're a patron, you get the videos there as well. So those of you that are supporting me over on Patreon, there, you also get the videos for $5 a month. And those videos are there. I upload the video to Patreon itself. So you'll never get any ads or anything for $5 a month. If you want an ad-free experience, Patreon is the place to do that. Anyways, you know, whatever support you guys give, I truly appreciate it. To the people that sub, to the people that donate, super chats and all the rest of it, I really appreciate you. You have no idea how much that helps. I mean, to the real OGs, the people that like the videos, that I really appreciate. I have a feeling at the moment, I don't have evidence of this, although I have some pieces of evidence, but obviously that's not hard evidence. But there's some evidence that the channel is shadow banned because the videos will do really well for like the first hour and a half. And then it's like the videos hit a wall. Like, I literally can see the chart just dropping. This is the impression chart. So it's literally pushing how many people are seeing the video, not watching, just seeing the video on their feed. It goes like this. So there's some kind of shadow thing happening there. Don't know if it's banned or whatever, but it seems like it pushes the video to subscribers, and then as soon as the subscribers have seen it, the algorithm kills the video. So if you guys can like it, because there's another algorithm that sort of takes videos, and if you like it, videos that you like will get shown to other people that like the same kind of videos that you like. So that does help out. It really does. I don't ask for it in videos. I do at the end, I think. But I will never pester you with that in the beginning of videos. But if you can, thank you. I really appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, be good to each other, be kind to each other. Have a wonderful weekend to those of you that are already on your weekend. I hope it's already been good. I'm looking specifically at the Australian people. But to everyone else, all of us in the West and America and Europe, have a wonderful weekend. Be good to each other, be kind to each other. Take care of each other. And I hope to see all of you as soon as possible. Grofel, yes, the stream is over. But like I said, I'll figure something out that we stream a little bit more over on Twitch, and then this becomes the podcast thing. But don't hold me to it. I'm putting YouTube first at the moment because I need to learn how to edit. That's why I'm doing this. I need to learn how to edit. It's the main reason for it. I don't know how to bloody edit, and I don't know how to edit well. And in order to learn how to edit well, I need to spend time editing videos. And I can't do that if I know I have to go live in an hour, because then I just have to rush and get it out as quickly as possible. So once I've learned how to edit fast, we might go back to full-time streaming, because in an hour I can make a video look super good. But right now, to make videos look the way that it looks now, that's like 5 hours or so of editing. So it takes a while. Okay, what if we do editing stream? Live edits on stream? I don't think that would work. I think you guys would be super bored. Right, off to Asma now. Have a good one. Grofile, I really appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, be good to each other. Be kind to each other. And I will see all of you